Good morning, everybody. Hope you are good. This is the last Monday transmission for me. Woo! In 2023, can you believe that? We have been coming on this platform, doing our thing since, well, almost 4 years, 3 years, 9 months. We've been running with this 3 years, 8 months. Okay, 3 years, 8 months. We've been running with this baby, and now we've reached a place where we're almost clocking 4 years. So in literally the next few days, we'll be done with the year. And this particular transmission, this one I'm doing, the Monday, this is my last one for this year. On Friday, this platform goes on break. We will be on break until February. So that's a time which we take to recoup, to re-strategize, to gather ourselves, gain our energy, re-energize, and all the other good stuff. So we do this in order to get ourselves set and good to go. And so we will be off until February, like I say. So in February, we'll be back with a crescendo to run and come through and deliver like we always do. We love to do this. This is not something that we're forced to do. We just love to come here and to be able to give back to this wonderful community. And it's not just you guys, it's a very large community of people that follow this. I've bumped into a lot of people who have indicated how much this has been such a blessing for them, how much they've been able to learn so much from our calls every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, whichever day, Tuesdays, Thursdays, when we come through every single day of the week, we come through and we do this. And like I say, our goal is to give back through this particular platform. One thing I also must admit that has been such a blessing is that so many people, without even realizing it, so many people have been following this and are testifying to how much they have learned through this platform. Another thing that's amazing and amusing at the same time is the fact that when it comes to quality and good stuff, you know, for a lot of people, they are not able to stick with it. And you know, I was just going through some neuroscience lessons just a few days ago. I'm on a very high-end neuroscience course right now, courtesy of a gentleman called Sachmo Mochiriri, who is my lead, and he was teaching me something which makes so much sense. The teaching is centered around the idea of the thinking brain. The thinking brain is also known as the prefrontal, cortex. It's also known as the conscious brain or the conscious mind. It occupies 5% of our consciousness in terms of its function. But what's amazing is that this prefrontal cortex consumes 80% of the energy that goes to the brain. Now, to understand how powerful the brain consumes 20%. Listen to this. 20% of all our energy needs. So imagine when you eat your food, the brain only occupies what, like 5% of your body mass, but it consumes 20% of your energy. So the brain is a very high energy consuming, object. It has a lot of firing of brain. Now, why am I mentioning this? Because the prefrontal cortex consumes 80% of the energy allocated to the brain. And so because of that, because the brain and the body and the mind is in the energy conserving business, what it likes to do is it likes to allocate most of the energy to the limbic brain, which is your subconscious mind. And that's the one that does 75-80% of all your thinking. And so it's easier, it uses less energy, so it's easier to do that than the brain. And that's the reason why, hear that now, that's the reason why learning is more energy consuming than watching a football game. And so the brain would rather watch the football game or watch a movie or do something relaxing than it would want to learn. That's why it's easier to follow gossip than to learn, because learning consumes more energy and the brain is in the energy saving business. So which means when you and I choose to learn, we are deliberately fighting against nature. That's why we don't have large numbers when it comes to content that is of a learning nature. And that's why you have huge numbers when it comes to content of an entertaining nature, because entertainment can be completely consumed and understood by the limbic brain, which uses less energy. Whereas learning means that you're firing away your what are they called? Your neurons are firing away. Lots of energy is being utilized by the brain, and so the brain can't handle that, and so it would rather stick with the energy saving activities. And that's why, to a large extent, we don't have so many numbers here. When I do my transmissions on the local gossip of the day, I don't like to do many of those, but sometimes you find there's a huge topic and it's so serious and it's life threatening. So you just have to comment on it to bring a position. You will see my numbers can hit, like last time, they were hitting 600-700 people viewing that. Whereas when I do these particular transmissions, it's 80, 90, 100 tops. Okay, there's a time we reach 200, but it's not common. And so you realize that most people would rather spend their time elsewhere. Anyway, I've ranted enough about that. Today, I'm doing the last topic, but before doing so, remember, every day we come on this platform. Mondays, it is myself, yours truly. Tuesday, it's Dr. Sunshine Sylvia, who does Mindset Change program. Wednesdays, it's an open market arrangement. This Wednesday, I'll be on again. As the last one, I will come through with a specific topic just to kind of wrap up everything and close the year. Thursday, Dr. Nelly with Prosperity for Your Soul, and then Friday, Dr. Jackie with health tips. And this is what we do every single day, Monday to Friday. We've been doing it for 3.5 years, and now we are just about to cross into the 4th year. But we will be going on break the remainder of December from next week, all the way through to the beginning of February, when we'll be back. And so at that point, obviously, we'll take a break and just re-energize. Now, today I'm looking at advancement skills to master today, time management. And specifically, this is mastering your time. And a lot of people struggle so much with this particular discipline. And as a result, they are not efficient, they are not effective. And many times this leads to underperformance, unfortunately, underperformance of the highest degree. And for many people, this underperformance is a continuous thing, because they have not learned how to master these little keys I'm going to be now sharing with you in order to show you how best to beat the system. So this one is huge, because this is going to be the differentiator for you, my friends, when it comes to your capacity and ability to operate at optimum level. I mean, take a look at myself. The ability to master time management is what has made me super efficient. I'm not perfect, but I am way above the average guy. I am able to juggle stuff left, right, and center. The other two individuals on this call, Dr. Nelly and Coach Sylvia, Dr. Sylvia, are both masters at time management, because they've learned how to allocate the resource of time very well. Now, a lot of you guys, simple stuff you can't even manage. You are messing up. You forget appointments. You under prioritize. I mean, you just do it all wrong. And so you end up finding yourself in unnecessary problems because you're not managing your time. And so today I'm going to be giving you a bit of tips on this. Now, according to a recent Gallup poll, the average person spends about 150,000 hours of their life working. Can you imagine that? And that's about 40% of their waking hours. So 40% of your waking hours, you are working. And the average working person spends 46 hours a week at work. And if they're a professional like me, they spend an average of 52 hours a week working. And if they're a small business owner, they work at an average of 57 hours a week. In fact, people like myself, that's where we are. We are in the 80-hour week, because I do 12 hours a day. 12 hours by 5 is 60 hours plus the weekends. And sometimes my work day starts at 5 a.m. and ends at 21, Monday to Friday. That I know for a fact, because you touch base with me at 6:20, I will be up and about on my laptop doing my work, because and next year I'm even planning to release 7 books. I'm announcing it because it's now decided. I'm going to release 7 books in 1 year. Those 7 books will have to come out one a month. So you can imagine how much time I'll have to dedicate to that and still be able to do my bread and butter, do my work, and still feed my family and put plans together for some big things we're doing next year. I got to have enough money for all this. And the average book launch and book publishing is going to set you back by between 30 to 40,000 kwacha each. That includes all the editing and all the other stuff that goes with it. So I need to raise 40,000 each month to launch a book. And if I do it the right way, obviously I make money back, but that's what I'm doing. So how do I achieve that? I have to work way beyond the normal hours. So I do 12 hours. I'm going to push 14 to 15 hours a day. Do I rest? Of course I rest during that time. If I get very tired, I take naps. I do that a lot. But what matters is I'm pushing 14 to 15 hours a day. Why do I push like that? Because I know I need to achieve some serious millionaire status. I was just telling good friends of mine the other day that I put the input of 2 young men. That's what I do. I don't play around. I don't mess around. I know I need to achieve this and I need to do it super fast because destiny beckons and I cannot sit around waiting or being lazy or mucking around. I need to get dead serious. I need to put these things in place literally before my retirement age of 55 because I intend to retire at 55. Now, that sounds strange. How am I going to retire when I'm working? The truth is I will retire from working for a living to working for purpose. Huge difference. Right now, I work for a living. So that's not a bad thing. At least I'm doing what I love, but I'm working for a living. I'm still working and then using that to sustain my life. That's not a good place to be at. I want to be at a place where I'm working for purpose because then I no longer need to work. You see, you got to get to a place where none of you no longer needs to work because you've all you need to sustain you, your children, and your grandchildren for generations. For me, that's real wealth, and that's what I aim for. Now, back to the working hours. So, the fact is, most working people like me and most of you here on this call is you'll spend more time working, commuting to work and thinking about work than you will eat meals and even have vacations. Can you imagine that? Okay, so work is indeed a huge part of our lives. Now, this is why managing time well becomes such a critical must-have skill to ensure efficiency and balance in our lives. And I think for a lot of people, that's where a lot of problems come in because they're not balancing. They're not balancing. Now, if there is one commodity that we all get in equal time, equal doses rather, it's time. And the irony of it all, though, is that how we manage it is what determines our getting ahead in life. Okay, there is an adage that states time is both a free resource and yet equally priceless. In short, everyone gets it, but everyone yearns for more. And for those whose time has run out, they would willingly give up virtually anything, including all their money, to just have another week or another month on this planet. That's how crazy these things are. So there are some key activities and habits that should be acquired and practiced to ensure one stays ahead in this area. And I'm now going to outline them. So what am I saying? We have this commodity called time. I heard people saying time is money. I always say, no. Time is worth more than money because money can increase, but time never does. Think about that. Yeah, time never does. Time is a finite resource. It's 24 hours done. No, you cannot increase this, but money can be increased. You can work and come up with strategies and find ways to increase your income until you reach a point where you're really flying and really earning huge amounts of money, way beyond what you need. And at that stage, then really you are at another place. But time, you can't increase time. Time is 24 hours done. 8 of those you're sleeping. So forget about the 8 hours. So you got 16 hours a day. So what are you doing with the 16 days? So here we go. Number 1, goal setting. So to start managing time effectively, you need to set goals. This is something that Mindset Church program teaches. This is something that Dr. Nelly in her program teaches. I teach it, okay? So setting goals. When you know where you're going, you can then figure out what exactly needs to be done and in what order. And without proper goal setting, you'll fritter your time away on confusion of conflicting priorities. So you have to know what are the priorities in order to make sure that you're allocating that resource which is limited to those, particular activities. So people tend to neglect goal setting because it requires time and effort. Like I told you about the brain and the work involved with the brain, using the thinking brain. So lots of people don't like that. That's why they don't like goal setting. That's why they don't like coming on platforms like this. That's why they don't like, getting into this whole set the plan for the year and planning and thinking and reading and learning. They don't want to do that because it involves too much thinking. Gosh, I can't think anymore. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so what they fail to consider is that a little time and effort put in now saves a gargantuan amount of time wasting in the future, which is of course going to be manifested by frustration. Because when you get to the end of that particular period, you look back and you ask yourself, what did I do? And there'll be nothing to show. And that's what gets people frustrated. That's what gets people disillusioned. That's what gets people upset. I've heard a number of people saying this motivation stuff doesn't work. It doesn't work because you are not following all the principles necessary to get you successful. So you need to realize that goal setting is one of the most powerful skills you can gain. Not just skills, but activities you can do. And right now, we're at the end of the year. Psychologically, many people feel like, oh God, I'm at the end of the year, there's a new year coming. So the new year comes and gives you this boost, right? You get this feel-good thing that I'm in the new year, this year. I tell you, this year. So that same this year thing, now once you're doing your whole this year thing, why don't you make sure you get your goals in place and sit down, take half a day to seriously reflect and set some goals. I've got some goal setting manuals available if you so wish. Get in touch with me, just post in the comments. You can also get into get to the Mindset Change program. They have that goal setting stuff. You can also get to Dr. Nelly and her program. She's got some goal setting stuff under her self-discovery program. Each one of us has goal setting templates. Now, if you're serious, you need to do it. If you don't want to come to us because you don't want to spend money, then you can go on the internet. You can type on Google and say goal setting templates. Free. Put the word free in front of it. Free goal setting templates. You will get them. Then you do them yourself. The difference with getting in touch with either one of us is that we become your, accountability partner. That's what I mean. So that we will become your accountability partner. So instead of being a cheapskate, why don't you spend a bit of money and get in touch with one of us? Get in touch with me and say, Rev, listen, I'm dead serious. How much will this cost me? And my Christmas bonus is coming up. Instead of me just squashing all of it or squandering it on barbecues, why don't I set aside a 500 kwacha and do this? Yes, come along. Let's make it happen. But you see, what's going to happen is I'll give this preaching, I'll do this thing on Wednesday, and then we'll get to next year, and then in the January, you'll be all fired up, and February, you'll be back to your normal behavior. That's why you have to do something uniquely different. And so, number one, goal setting. Number two, prioritizing, okay? Now, prioritizing what needs to be done is especially important. Without it, you may work very hard, like many are doing, but you won't be achieving the results you desire because what you're doing is not of strategic importance. I can't overemphasize that. That's why you have to be strategic about where you're committing your time, okay? Most people have a to-do list of some sort. The problem with many of these lists is they're just a collection of things that need to get done. There's no rhyme or reason to the list, and because of this, the work they do is just unstructured. So how do you work on the to-do lists? Top down, bottom up, easiest to hardest? I mean, look, the Mindset Change program has a phenomenal template for this whole to-do list thing. And if you just followed what is taught there, you would be able to prioritize your activities, okay? But for many people, they don't do that. That's why they just kind of go around in circles and you start actually feeling like the hamster. You know, there's like a little hamster running in the wheel, that one? Yeah, you start feeling like that. But it's like you're running, you're like on a treadmill, running, sweating, huffing and puffing, no work done. Because in physics, work equals mass times distance. So meaning, if you're not progressing, no matter how much you're expending, you are not moving. There's no work done. And that's what discourages so many people. But I'm here to tell you today that you need to learn how to prioritize. Now, to work efficiently, you need to work on the most important, highest value tasks. This way, you won't get caught scrambling to get something critical done as the deadline approaches. It is here the concept of critical. It's here that the idea of critical success activities become instrumental in our circles. In our circles, with Dr. Sylvia and Dr. Nelly, we talk about the high payoff activities, HPAs. Writing a book for me is a powerful HPA because I will make money off that book for years. Just last week, I sold 50 books, 50 of my books. At one event I went to, 50 books went just like that. How many books have I sold since I printed my book? 2,500 books. Not much of copies, but it's still good money because 2,500 kwacha multiplied by 350, the price of the book, less the cost of the book, is still giving me somewhere north of 50, 60,000, almost 100,000 kwacha. Now, if my book becomes a bestseller, it goes into the millions. And I'm still going to make money off my book. It's not like I'm done making my money off my book. So a lot of people don't realize that when you do a project like a book, yes, you spend, for argument's sake, 50 to 60 hours writing the book, right? Writing, editing, working on it. And 60 hours, if you calculate your time per hour, it's not much. Yes, it's an investment, but it's not much. Okay, my time works at somewhere between 100 to 200 kwacha per hour, right? That's my fee per, no, it's more than that. Okay, fine. It's about 1,000, about 2,000 kwacha an hour. That's my real time when I'm speaking, and when I'm working on stuff, it's much less. It's about 100 to 200. So it's somewhere in the middle. Now imagine those hours I've spent writing the book, and then now look at the money I'm making off it. If you calculate the 60 hours and calculate the amount I'm making off the book, and then potentially how much I can make, that book can work into tens to hundreds of thousands per hour. That's what it can translate to. So for me, that's a super HPA. I gotta do that. Learning is another area where you learn today and you look like you're spending or wasting money, but tomorrow, what you learn in those 2 years will feed you for a year, for your lifetime. That's a high payoff activity. Do you see where I'm going? So that's how you prioritize. So you work in order of priority. So for example, I spend a fairly decent amount of time on social media. But you know why I'm on that social media? I don't go there to read and watch people's walls and watch videos. I don't do that. I go on social media to manage my platform. I have gotten more, in fact, almost all my business right now has come through the social media. All my business, even the big business I'm doing right now with the South African firms have come via social media. So social media, what happens? They see my TikTok videos. You know, I was really despising TikTok for some time, but then as usual, you know, we're always learning. So a guru was teaching on one of the platforms and I watched and said, oh my God, I need to get on this thing. And so, you know, the funny thing about when you make a decision, the mind, the brain goes into overdrive and starts to think. Whenever you ask your mind a question, the mind remains looking for the answer. That's just amazing. The mind remains looking for an answer. And so my brain was searching for the answer. And finally, through all that searching, the answer was found. And I found that I was able to run this platform and create all these things without any pressure. And that's exactly what I've done. The number of people who've seen my short little videos and reached out to me on account of those short little videos, insane. Not to mention my statuses on social media, on Facebook. And then these platforms penalize you when you don't interact with these. They're very clever. So they want you to engage with the people coming on your page. So I have to do that. Now it looks like it's time wasting, but for me, I have an agenda. My agenda is the squeaky bolt gets the oil. You know, that's what they say. And I love that saying, the squeaky bolt gets the oil. Who is making the most noise? Even your debtors. If you have somebody that owes you money, that you owe money, and they are phoning you every day, when are you paying? When are you paying? When are you paying? Do you realize that when you get some money, that's the first one you're paying? You're not going to pay those who are not giving you pressure. That's just how funny life is. So which means the squeaky bolt gets the oil, and so goes with you. The more you're visible in your circle, what's your circle? Make yourself visible. So then that means committing time to the process. That's why I'm talking about this. So prioritizing. So commit time to that, because you know your end game is to be exposed. And when you're exposed, more opportunities for business. Number 3, managing interruptions. This is the big one. This one is a killer. It's a killer, this one, because this is where we're struggling, okay? Having a plan and knowing how to prioritize it is one thing. The next issue is knowing what to do to minimize the interruptions you face during your day. It is widely recognized that managers get very little uninterrupted time to work on their priority tasks. There are phone calls, information requests, questions from employees, and a whole host of events that crop up unexpectedly. And some do need to be dealt with immediately, but others need to be managed. Okay, so however, some jobs need you to be available for people when they need help. Interruption is a natural and necessary part of life. Here, do what you sensibly can to minimize it, but make sure you don't scare people away from interrupting you when they should. So this interruption, for those of us in our self-employment bubbles, we struggle with it because of interruptions from especially social media. That's become the big one. Remember, you and I are people who are trying and running platforms, and we need to interact with our platform people because that's where our business comes from. But at the same time, like me, you get these opportunities and jobs to go and present, and you need to put a presentation together, and it needs to be world class, and that requires time. You can't run away from it. You need time to work on these things. I've done it before. You need time, and so if you're not going to put the time, it will show when you go to your presentation. You will look like somebody who did not do their job, and that's a really bad one, because that's going to go round. Everybody's going to tell the other people, do not hire that guy. He's all just hype and air, but no substance. When you bring them on the platform, no substance. Stay away. So that's why we need a lot of time to do what we need to do. But to do that, then you've got the interruptions. So how do you manage those? And that's where really the work comes. So for me, one of the things I've done is deliberately, I have no notifications popping up on my phone, deliberately. Now, of course, that's a challenge because, you know, WhatsApp, some very serious important messages come through. So I made it a point to check my WhatsApp maybe 10, 15 minutes at a go, just to see that I'm not missing anything. But I have refused to let those pop-ups come because they're just too many. And they will mess my work up and I'll not focus. You know, ding, ding. Same thing goes with on the computer. You can also manage that. The other way is just to switch them off completely, give yourself specific times when you will not be interrupted, except, of course, for things relating to your business and life. And many times I always say a phone call is good enough. If I can't talk with you, do a phone call and you'll get through to me. Again, the phone is also powerful because you can do it and I'll call you back. Sometimes we have very dear friends and colleagues of ours who call, and you know on average that when you pick up that call, you're going to be spending 30 to 40 minutes on that particular call. So to avoid that, again, you can manage those. It works very well. You can manage those so that you limit them to a specific time. What I've done also is I usually have a little alarm set on the side, and when we're talking, it'll just ring as if it's a call, and I'll say, oops, the call is coming. I was waiting for this call. We'll talk. I'll catch up. Let's catch up. And in that way, you stop that. So number 4, overcoming procrastination. It's another one. I'll get to it later. Whew, that one. All of us are naturally procrastinating in terms of our characteristic. You know why? Remember the story about the brains? Yes, the working brain, the prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain uses far more energy than the limbic brain. And between the two, the brain would rather save power any day by committing the power to the limbic brain. So activities that involve thinking and, you know, cracking your brain and really utilizing the energy, just, you know, naturally you're like, I'm sure you've all felt this. Like, okay, I'll study. Okay, I'll study in the evening. In the evening, oh my God, I'm so tired. I think let me just do it tomorrow. You know, I mean, this is natural. So you're gonna fight against it. You're gonna just go against it. Like, I'm not going to postpone. Okay. So what I'm saying, it has led to the downfall of many good employees. After too many laters, the work piles up so high that any task seems insurmountable. So procrastination is as tempting as it is deadly. The best way to beat it is to recognize that you do indeed procrastinate. So there are very few people on this platform who do not procrastinate. We all do. And so you just need to figure out why. Is it because you have a fear of failing? Or is it because you have a fear of success? What is it that makes you procrastinate? So identify. They say a problem recognized is a problem half solved, right? Yeah. A problem shared, a problem half solved. So the fact that you are aware of this, then you can deal with the procrastination. Just tell yourself, I'm doing it. Pump yourself up. Tell yourself some positive stuff. Sing a song, you know, sing a warrior song or something. I don't know. Come up with a ritual that makes you just get all pumped up. And I've found that that's very effective. Everybody has their own ritual for being pumped up. Maybe watch a video about success, see all the things you want to see. That's the reason why some people have posters of, you know, vision board. You have a poster of the house you're going to have, the life you're going to have, the income you're going to have. Look at those again and remind yourself. There's a joke that says, there's a guy just kind of leaning bored, you know, in his office, and the boss is telling him off and you must work, you must focus. And then he looks at the boss and says, boss, can you remind me again why it is I come to work here? Of course, it's just a joke, but it's such a powerful, yeah, just remind yourself, why are you doing that thing? Why are you doing whatever it is you're about to do? Why are you up and about doing it? And that's your key. That once you remember why, then you can get to work. So a lot of people struggle because they forget why they're doing what they're doing. So keep your eyes on the ball, you know, on the goal, on the ball, and on where you're going. And lift your head up and look at where you're going, so that this process here is not so discouraging, because sometimes it can be very discouraging when you look at the work and go, oh my God. You know, it's like the classic situation with a big party, and you had fun, and in the morning you wake up and you look at the house, you go, oh, I'll clean later. Just when you look at the dishes, you know, but the secret is just start doing it. And I love that saying, just do it. You know, the saying from Nike, yeah, just do it, just start. And in the words of my dear brother, God rest his soul, Gallup, the best way to start is just to start. You know, so just start. Don't even say, I'll wait until, just start wherever, and pick the hardest stuff first, because then it becomes a breeze. And sometimes, okay, but with like the full house full of rubbish, start with the easy stuff. Just start with the easy stuff. So at least you start, you know, when you look, you see, wow, we're making progress. You know, so by the time you get to the hard stuff, you know. But with work, it's the other way around. Start with the priority stuff, with the biggest money first, and then finish with the small mundane stuff. But it depends on what motivates you. If you are motivated by progress, then obviously you start with the small stuff. So that you clear that, then the list looks like it's clearing. But the truth of the matter is that you want to prioritize even as you do that. Which brings us to number 5, scheduling. This is another one which a lot of people don't understand. They struggle with this. They you know, don't know how to do it properly. So much of time management comes down to effective scheduling of your time. When you know what your goals and priorities are, you then need to know how to go about creating a schedule that keeps you on track and protects you from stress. This means understanding the factors that affect the time you have available for work. You not only have to schedule priority tasks to have, you have to leave room for interruptions and contingency time for those unexpected events that otherwise wreak havoc when it comes to your schedule. So by creating a robust schedule that reflects your priorities and as well as supports your personal goals, you have a winning combination, one that will allow you to control your time and keep your life in balance. And you know, I'll tell you something, those who manage their time well will certainly become more productive, get greater results, and find themselves more valuable and on demand now, and especially in the future. So freelancers, this is your killer skill. You need this skill as your own supervisor. I've found, for example, the challenge between, you know, being balanced at home and balanced at work. This is the biggest nightmare for most people. And then for people like myself who's spiritual, balanced in the things of God as well. So how do you balance your spirituality? How do you balance your family? And how do you balance your work? Big one. And anyone who manages these 3 well will prosper the most. It's simple as that. Anyone who manages these 3 well will prosper the most. Most people, you'll find, they'll be focused on one or the other, too much at the expense of the others. So, but the truth of the matter is, what is priority for you? So for me, my priority list looks like this: God, family, everything else. Yeah, that's how it looks. That's my priority. God, family, everything else. And everything else here, of course, means my calling, my service. So that means in my service, who am I serving? My community. What gifts am I carrying? Am I expending those gifts in the community? That's what I mean. So God is not a discussion. Let's talk about family. This one is so important. So many people mess with this. Dr. Sylvia always speaks about this area so much, and people like myself have had to learn. I mean, Dr. Nelly speaks about it powerfully as well. So we need to balance this one, because if you don't balance, they all start to pay. You start to see the price. Because if you prioritize the work, the family suffers. Your wife is upset, your wife is depressed, your children are missing you, things are going wrong at home. If you overdo it this side, there's no money. So you got to balance the two. This is one of the reasons why working from home for me became a huge plus. I always thank God for COVID, especially in regard to that, because it taught me now how to balance the two. I am making more money yet working at home. And so when I need to work in places, so next year we're having some very plush offices again. But even then, I'll balance it out. I will learn, because my kids, my being present in the house has made a huge difference with my children, because I am seeing stuff I would never have seen or caught. I'm able to nap, what's that word? The word has gone. I can nip. Yeah, thank you. So I've been able to nip a lot of stuff in the bud. Okay? Yes, Mwenda, very true. Happy wife, happy life. That's a fact, brother or sister, whoever it is. So, you know, we're able to nip stuff in the bud. You're able to catch words your children are saying. Go, hey, 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 what did I just hear? Never say those words again. Okay? You know, you're able to intervene because you're on the ground. But at the same time, I'm able to do my work. My kids are able to see me. My kids are able to come to me. My wife is able to come to me. It's so comely. And I thank God for my consultation work, which allows me to work from home and do so much at home without necessarily being in an office. But even when we need an office, I have a PA there. They can do the work. They can meet the customers, whatever is needed. And when I need to meet customers, I can either go visit them where they are, or they can meet me at the office, or we can get a special location where we can do that. So for me, this last one, this scheduling has been a lifesaver because I'm able to schedule weeks in advance. I have alarms that pop up, and then, you know, Dr. Sylvia has a very powerful tool in her Mindset Change program, which shows you how to schedule and prioritize your time, identify what is the imperative, what is the important, and then, you know, all that stuff. You can work it out very well, and it helps you to progress. So for those of you who are watching right now, my closing remarks, I'm coming back on Wednesday to really hit a home run with this. My remarks to you is, how serious are you about prioritizing? How serious are you about time management? How serious are you about achieving greater goals and greater results this coming year? And then even this year, do a retrospective analysis. Ask yourself, what did you achieve? What have you been able to do in this last year? Can you point at milestones achieved? But I want to encourage those of you who haven't achieved any milestones, don't even worry about it, because you're the one who set the goals. You're the one who wrote those things. You're the one who came up with the plan. You're the one who decided based on whatever resources you saw when you were planning. If those things don't work, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means you need to adjust your goals. Hello? Just adjust the goals. Adjust the goals to what is realistically achievable given the resources that you have. Remember, resources aren't just money. Resources is time, effort, skills, people, networks, whatever. Opportunities, all these are resources. So the question is, what are the resources like? So can you do something about changing the resources? Which are within your power to change and which are not within your power to change? So this is very, very important as far as things go. And once you get these things right, my friends, you will be on the path to success. So this is my last transmission this year in terms of this particular Monday segment. I'm back on Wednesday to do a wrap up. Tomorrow we have Dr. Sylvia doing her Mindset Change. Thursday we have Dr. Nelly doing her thing. And what I want to encourage every one of you today is do some deep thinking about your life and about your progress and about your success and what you want to achieve next year. On Wednesday, I'm going to do the last topic, which is mastering your ICT skills. I just want to kind of wrap that up, because when we come back next year in February, I'm starting with the quantum leap, taking a quantum leap. I didn't do the quantum leap this whole year. Amazingly, I did it the other year. So I'm going to go back to that. And oh, T-Boys, thanks for coming through to the call. You know what, my brother, 50% is not bad at all, huh? T-Boy, 50% is not bad at all. For a lot of people, they don't even have goals to start with. So they feel so horrible, like they've not achieved anything to write home about. So to all of you watching, let's join each other. Let's come on the call on Wednesday. And I'm just thinking, if I'm feeling like Father Christmas on Wednesday, if I am, I may give away my planner for free. Or I may ask you to pay what you think it's worth. I know that. So that's a trick we do. So I'll say, guys, pay what you want. So you pay what you think it's worth. So in fact, I think that's what I'll do. So I'll put pay what you think it's worth. So you can pay anything from 1 kwacha to 1,000 kwacha. Just pay whatever you think it's worth, and I'll give it to you for free. So I think I might run that promotion. So let me put it on my reminders here, and then I'll run it on the call, nowhere else, on the call only. So only the people on the call and the people in my communities will get the offer. So right now, sorry, I've gone over time. One more thing, I've moved everything to the community now. I don't do broadcasts. I'm really trying to reduce on those. So I just want to speak to the community itself. So I did share last time a few things on the community. So I'll share again because that'll be the platform I'll be using to share. So there'll be a WhatsApp community and there'll be a Facebook community. So you go in that and you get your announcements. So on that note, thank you everyone. We are going to be back again tomorrow. Dr. Sunshine Sylvia is on with Mindset Change. I'm sure she has something powerful to tell you guys about goal setting and about prioritizing and about doing something serious about your life next year. Remember, you need to attend all the courses on our platform, right? You need to attend the Unleashing Your Destiny, which is on I run. You need to attend the Mindset Change program, which Dr. Sylvia runs. You need to attend the self-discovery that Dr. Nelly runs. If you take all three, I assure you your life will not be the same. I assure you. On that note, thank you guys. Have a great day. Catch you tomorrow, same time on the same